Live, local, social. It's time for the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show. On cable, on the web, and all over social media. Featuring stories from close to home, starring people like you. Live from Greater West Bloomfield, it's the Splash Live.
Welcome, friends and neighbors, to the Splash Live on Civic Center TV. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you for joining us. As Black History Month comes to a close, Oakland Schools continues interactive programming here in our community with experts from across the nation and close to home. One of many organizations that's been doing that all throughout the month of February. Civic Center TV's Jake Schaff is live out at West Bloomfield Middle School with even more on the most recent of these events. Jake.
Hey there, Tyler. Good morning. Great to see you as February is coming to an end, but Black History Month is still going on, and there have still been great programs all throughout Greater West Bloomfield. And just last night, right here at West Bloomfield Middle School, they were one of many schools that took part in Oakland County Schools' African American Read-In. This countywide Black History Month initiative brings community volunteers into classrooms, sometimes virtually, to read literature by Black authors, fostering literacy, cultural representation, and community engagement from the students. And the guest author this year was New York Times bestselling author Kwame Alexander, who shared his inspirations in becoming an author and how he got to where he is today. It was an inspiring night for families, especially parents who came out here with their kids tonight and got to showcase to their kids a successful Black author to their children and to inspire them on what they could be. And I got a chance to speak with some of those parents on what they thought of this incredible experience.
I think it's important, especially in today's society, for young African Americans to see someone who looks like themselves. I think they are inspired by those who look like them, and it makes them realize that they can do it too. We read books, but we never get to see the person behind who wrote the book, and getting inspiration from them. And, we actually saw a young author who started writing at the age of 7. So it shows our children that they can be writers and achieve their dreams, even at a young age.
It is very inspiring to hear him from his simple morning routine to say we're all the same, and that they can picture themselves in his place someday. Having the books here for them to read, and also seeing him at the same time, it's like, oh wow, you're connecting the author to the words that you've got to enjoy over these years. From my oldest son, who's 16, to my middle son, who's 5, who are here with me today. It's very inspiring for all of us, and even me, hearing the young author, the young girl who's 13, who started writing at 7, all the way up to Mr. Alexander, who's been writing so many books for so many years, and I think it's very important for them to see that.
It was inspiring for everybody, for the parents and the kids, and hopefully it fostered maybe a few future authors here in West Bloomfield, Tyler. I mean, you can only hope, and I think that there's definitely going to be a lot of knowledge that was taken away, not just from tonight, but from everything we have seen all throughout Black History Month.
Yeah, there have been interactive events at the library in the West Bloomfield School District, all throughout Oakland Schools. We think about celebrations like United We Walk that maybe isn't meant to be educational in the more formal sense, but still is. You learn about Black culture, Black history, you learn about some of the different events, the different organizations, certainly the different businesses and interactive opportunities that there are in Greater West Bloomfield every single day, and be able to apply that history to our community and one of the many cultures that we celebrate each and every day in West Bloomfield and the Tri-Cities. Jake, thank you so much. Live out at West Bloomfield Middle School.
Thank you, Tyler.
Appreciate it. More information can be found on other Black History Month events at places like the library on their website, wblib.org, the school district's website in West Bloomfield, wbsd.org, or search Oakland Schools and find their website as well for some of their other interactive events celebrating Black history all throughout the year, not just in the month of February. We recently got the inside scoop from the Road Commission for Oakland County on pothole repairs, understanding how they address this ever-common issue close to home here in Greater West Bloomfield. But it's a different experience for you, as well as our local city staff, when potholes pop up in the terminal stage of a Michigan winter. Civic Center TV's Jonathan Montgomery has more.
Due to harsh winters, roads can deteriorate and causing potholes. And in the Greater West Bloomfield area, we're no strangers to that. Today, I had the opportunity to talk to locals who shared their perspective on these road conditions.
So I've been traveling Orchard Lake for a few years now as a school employee, and I haven't experienced a pothole like I have this morning that blew out my tire, but the roads overall are very bumpy.
Well, I think they do a good job, filling in the potholes, but just staying on top of that, that's the biggest thing. They resurfaced them back a while ago and, keep doing that on a regular basis.
In cities such as Orchard Lake Village, they have a dedicated staff tasked at keeping local roads safe for motorists. I spoke to Jerry McCullum to learn about how Orchard Lake addresses potholes and other sudden road hazards.
Our DPW is pretty aggressive on getting out there on a daily basis, driving the roads. Obviously, they plow them during those snow events. So they know where some of these situations or these potholes occur, and then we will go out and maintain them or fix them the next day. We try to do that in a very timely manner, usually within a day of receiving a complaint and or a phone call. We certainly don't want anybody to jeopardize their safety on our roads, so we take it a high priority.
Thanks to the ongoing efforts from the Greater West Bloomfield area, drivers can look forward to more comfortable and safe trips. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jonathan Montgomery.
Important information to know, because many people will think that every single road in their community has to do with the road commission, or in places like cities where they are responsible for their city streets, not those big main roads like Orchard Lake or Cass Lake, but those city streets like Pontiac Drive in Sylvan Lake or Beachmont in Keego Harbor. Those are city roads. Those are the responsibility of City Hall, of their Department of Public Works or DPW team. But those main roads like Orchard Lake are the responsibility of the Road Commission for Oakland County. Beyond that, also, if you're in West Bloomfield Township, it's different there than it is in the Tri-Cities. All of your streets, including those main roads and those smaller township-specific roads, are overseen by the Road Commission for Oakland County that assists townships in dealing with issues like potholes or others on our roadways all throughout the year. So if you have an issue, Craig Bryson told our team earlier this week on the Splash Live, if you have an issue with a pothole in Oakland County, anywhere, here in Greater West Bloomfield or somewhere else, what you want to do is contact the Road Commission for Oakland County. They will go based on priority. Of course, those major thoroughfares like the highways and Orchard Lake Road, particularly in our community, are going to have priority over some of the smaller streets. But they do take care of those issues fairly quickly in their priority list and do what they can to mitigate the potholes as winter comes to an end and put more permanent or long-term solutions in place later on, especially on those older roads. Really critical that those stopgaps get in place sooner rather than later, because those are more susceptible to long-term issues. More information from the Road Commission for Oakland County related to pothole repair can be found on rcocweb.org or on their Facebook page at RoadCom. And of course, if you have an issue in the Tri-Cities on one of your city streets, contact your respective city hall and they'll put into motion what they need to do for repairing those roads, as Mr. McCallum spoke about, for the city of Orchard Lake Village. It's playoff season close to home in Greater West Bloomfield, where the competition is driving much more than just a chase for the trophy.
I think especially with the internet and social media, it's really easy to separate yourself from and feel like you're in a bigger world. And I love that this hometown community feel actually brings you into the real world, brings you into what you're doing every day, and allows you to interact with your peers.
Lisa Van Houten grew up in West Bloomfield and lives nearby, the mother of Walled Lake Northern basketball player Logan Van Houten. For parents like Lisa, sports provide an outlet for activity for their kids, but also a sense of connection between communities with strong ties to their neighbors.
I feel like it brings us all together in the sense that we're all coming together to this event, we're all cheering for each other, we're all in the stands rooting for all the boys, making sure if somebody makes a basket, we're like all rooting for each other. But I also think even from a community, Northern versus West Bloomfield, it allows us to like cheer each other on because we're neighboring schools.
Lynn Robertson sees this firsthand every night of the Lakers basketball season, where she is part of the team that handles ticket sales. Robertson told me the games bring far more than just parents and peer support.
I mean, we see more than just parents and families. We see a lot of community members that don't have any children or grandchildren playing. They just like to come and watch a great game. Well, I think it's important for the high school and the team and those that work for the schools to see that our community supports us, that our school is important. We do a lot for the community, and it would be a good thing for them to participate, to see what our school has to offer, because besides sports, there's so many other things, and they need to know about those.
At local schools like West Bloomfield and Orchard Lake St. Mary's, the community support does not go unnoticed by the players, the coaches, or the athletics staff. An important reminder of what sports means beyond the court.
That's what high school sports is about. It's about community, and a lot of these kids know each other, and some are really good friends.
Anytime that you have teams that are representing a school, they show some of the best that we have to offer in the school district, and they can feel the support that they receive from the student body. And it's always that source of pride that you have when you're out there and you're playing in front of your friends, you're playing in front of your classmates, you're playing in front of your peers, and you're playing in front of your community.
It means a lot. It means a lot, actually, because sports actually brings together West Bloomfield.
A fun moment with Nasir Moore, who's been on fire for the West Bloomfield Lakers over the course of this playoff run so far. It's only going to get more intense tonight at West Bloomfield High School. Of course, in basketball or really any sport, you win in the playoffs, it brings you glory for that season. But the way that it brings the way that it brings communities together, of course, sporting events do, that creates a glory that spans the generation. The glory off the court will be put on display this evening at West Bloomfield High School, as basketball glory will be put on display on the hardwood with yet another Orchard Lake Road showdown between the boys teams at West Bloomfield High School and Orchard Lake St. Mary's. A battle of North versus South, parochial school versus public school. One will be the winner, one will take home the district trophy and move on to the regionals next week. Only a couple ways to find out. Either you got to go to West Bloomfield High School Friday night, 6 p.m. and watch the game in person, which hopefully everyone does. It's going to be a great basketball team between two teams that play very similar hoops at 6 p.m. at West Bloomfield High School. Or, of course, you can stay tuned right here on Civic Center TV and civiccentertv.com for our continuing coverage of playoff hoops in Greater West Bloomfield. The Eaglets and Lakers boys teams face off tonight. And then next week, the girls squads tip off their playoff campaigns, hoping to make more trips to the Breslin Center in the weeks ahead for championship weekend. Coming soon at Soul Studio, stories of identity, resilience, unity, and coming together as the Friendship Circle unites the masses through art with a little bit of light, highlighting the mission of Soul Studio in the process. Here with a special preview is Kate Spademan, facilitating artist at Soul Studio. Kate, welcome to the Splash Live.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Happy to have you on to preview this special new exhibit at Soul Studio. As I said in your introduction, it's aimed at highlighting the mission of Soul Studio. How does this particular exhibit ultimately do that, to highlight what Soul Studio is all about?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think when you walk into the space, you get this sense of joy and sense of community and sense of belonging. And when we were picking that theme, we were really thinking, how can we highlight every artist's, uniqueness and individuality? And so, we have just so many different mediums and such a range of artwork that's being displayed that really highlights the potential of every artist here in the studio.
There's a number of themes that the art in that studio dives into with this exhibit. One that keeps coming up is this concept of radiance. How is that put on display by the artists, and what is featured at Soul Studio?
Absolutely. So every artist gets to pick a medium that really speaks to them, whether that's ceramics, sculpture, mixed media, painting, whatever. But there's this spark inside every artist that kind of propels them forward and gets them to choose the medium that they want to express the theme in. And so every piece you have this little bit of joy and a little bit of happiness that is expressed throughout their chosen medium, and maybe that's memories or feelings.
More information on A Little
really
Bit of Light can be found on their Facebook page. Apologies there, Kate. We had a little bit of a breakup, but we're back with you clear now. If you want to learn more about A Little Bit of Light, more information is available on Facebook at Friendship Circle Soul Studio or on friendshipcircle.org. Kate, now that we've got you all situated, please continue.
Awesome. Yep. So everyone gets to choose their particular medium, and they get to be inspired by a feeling or a happiness or medium that just feels good to create. And you'll see that displayed throughout the gallery, just a wide range of mediums and really expressive artwork throughout the gallery.
It's a really supportive environment, too. That's something that's really at the heart of Soul Studio and its mission. And for these artists, of course, they have a passion for their particular medium. That is put on display. That is at the crux of this entire exhibit, A Little Bit of Light, that will be on display at Soul Studio. But how does the environment then support the artistic process and ultimately what these different creative people end up putting out for a show like this?
Absolutely. So any artist can come into our studio, and if they can dream it, they can make it. So our job is to have the support, have the resources, have the tools, so that every artist can create without boundaries or without limitations. So anything they can create, anything they can imagine, they can make.
And how does the support come into play? What is provided to these artists as they're imagining these projects and then putting them into action?
Yeah, so we have facilitating artists that pair with our artists, and we often do some brainstorming at the beginning of a session, and we'll kind of create a detailed plan for how to get step-by-step through, to the end of the product. So the artist comes in with an idea, and we will work together as a team collaboratively to build the piece. And we've got so many different resources. We have a wood shop, we have sewing machines, so many different materials that have been donated, so that we can really explore and create anything that they can imagine.
The opening of the gallery will be on March 15th. It will run through April 15th at the Soul Studio on Drake Road in West Bloomfield Township. There is also going to be an artist talk at the end of the month of March, March 29th at 1 p.m. to explore even further A Little Bit of Light, which opens just in a little bit of time, mid-March at 1 p.m., March 15th in West Bloomfield at the Soul Studio. Kate Spademan is a facilitating artist at the Friendship Circle Soul Studio, joining us on the Splash Live today. Kate, there's been a number of different exhibits over the years that have explored specific themes that do in some way cross over our communities, or maybe they are more deeper thinking related themes that help these artists explore their creativity a little bit further. But where did the motivation come from to create a new exhibit that's specifically about the support system that is available through the Friendship Circle, and particularly about that support circle at the Friendship Circle Soul Studio?
Yeah, I think that, like looking at every person as an individual, seeing the amount of joy that comes through the space, we're really looking at how can we highlight every person's individual personality and unique interests, and the gallery space especially is just so wonderful because it is so huge. We get to display more than double our artwork than we typically display in our past galleries. So we're really able to showcase so many different mediums and bigger artwork and collaborative artwork that allows us to really just highlight every person's uniqueness, unique qualities.
How do these pieces ultimately bring together the goal of showing what the support system, what the structure of support provides to local artists here in Greater West Bloomfield, while also putting on display the incredible creativity and artistic pride that these individuals do have in the work that they create?
Yeah. Many of our artists pull from personal experiences to create their artwork. And so you'll see that displayed in a lot of the themes in their art. But you'll also see some bigger collaborative pieces that would not be possible without the support of a big studio like this. So you'll see pieces where anywhere between 6 and 12 artists have been brainstorming and collaborating to create an overall artwork. And that's just not something that's possible working alone in a studio. When you have a supportive team like this and you have the resources and the support, you're able to create those really unique, enormous pieces of art.
And it's a great way to show tangibly the ways that an outlet like this supports people with special needs in our community, provides them an outlet for communication that otherwise can be really difficult in some cases for these individuals in greater West Bloomfield or in other areas. It helps to create that sense of connection for our community here in greater West Bloomfield, but even more importantly, Kate, for those outside of the confines of our community. Why is it important for us to have an outlet like this to show, not tell, how communication can be in many different forms for people that may have some special needs?
Oh, absolutely. It's so important to have this kind of recognition, this kind of space where the community can come and see just the incredible work that they're all creating. I mean, like, I see it every day, we see it every day, but to have a dedicated time and space where we're able to step back and recognize the amount of time and attention that's been put into the artwork. I mean, it means everything. Having that sense of community, getting connect with others is just, it's the whole point of art,
And what part does the support of a community like we have here in West Bloomfield and surrounding areas, what role does that play in the mission of Soul Studio and the results that come from that mission?
Yeah, the support of the community just means so much. I mean, you can see it in the way that our artists react to just the sheer amount of people who show up and are show up in numbers and are there ready to support. I mean, that is incredible. Beyond that, if you purchase our artwork, it goes directly to the artist and also helps support our program. So we're able to continue doing some really expressive, fun artwork and supplying really wonderful workshops. So it's both like incredible just for the artist personally, but it also means that we're able to continue doing these awesome workshops.
The exhibit runs March 15th through April 15th, Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and also on Thursdays, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. if you want to fit that into the latter portion of your schedule for any given day. Kate Spademan is with us, facilitating artist at the Friendship Circle Soul Studio, as we get ready for a little bit of light coming up in mid-March through mid-April. Kate, before we let you go, anything else we haven't discussed just yet that people should know before they come out to Soul Studio on Drake Road?
The thing that I would leave with is I hope you come see our gallery and that you find at least one piece that really speaks to you, that gives you that spark and reminds you that even when you're feeling alone, you've got this community behind you ready to support you.
Well, Kate, we appreciate your time previewing a little bit of light and hope to see a lot of people join your community out at Soul Studio for what will be a great presentation. Once again, very impressive art, each and every one of these exhibits. And what better way to show that off than by doing an exhibit all about the art and the artists at Soul Studio. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Glad to have you on. Soul Studio is on Drake Road in between Walnut Lake and Maple in West Bloomfield Township. For more information on this event coming up and other exhibits in the future, visit facebook.com/Friendship Circle Soul Studio or visit them on their website at friendshipcircle.org. Close to home in Orchard Lake, your chance to take the ice with the Detroit Red Wings legends and be a hero yourself in the process. Saturday, March 14th at Orchard Lake St. Mary's, the annual Michigan United Cerebral Palsy charity event, Skating to Close the Disability Divide, will aim to put gaps in services for people with disabilities in the penalty box once and for all. I spoke to Mike Ward, a board member from Michigan UCP, to learn more about the star-studded event. Mike, thanks for coming on the show today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on to talk about this, because since 2000 you've been running these fundraisers. They've raised nearly $1 million, over $700,000 to support cerebral palsy treatment and some of the necessities for people with disabilities in Michigan. I don't think people understand just how far that can go, Mike. So over the years, how has that $700,000+ gone to help people with cerebral palsy right here in Michigan?
Well, we have a lot of programs and services that we offer in terms of things like portable wheelchair ramps. We have a program called Quick Ramps that people can apply to. We also are heavily involved in assistive technology and assistive technology grants. We have a new program called the Michigan Assistive Technology Loan Fund, and that is really important because so many people with disabilities don't have a great credit history, they don't have a steady income, or they have difficulty getting loans, basically. And we have a program now that we're offering loans, different kinds of packages, different partnerships with different financial institutions, and it will allow us to really help people with independent living and to live as adults in the state of Michigan.
And helps to raise awareness, too, to have these sorts of events that bring people out, that shine a light on some of the needs of people in this specialized community here in Greater West Bloomfield and throughout Southeast Michigan. I'd imagine makes it a lot easier to raise that awareness when you're bringing out some Detroit hockey legends from the Detroit Red Wings, people like Darren McCarty, Justin Abdelkader, Mickey Redmond, and others who have participated over the years. How have the Red Wings alumni helped your organization raise that awareness and, most importantly, get that fundraising you need to help people with cerebral palsy?
Well, they're the draw, no doubt. I mean, we use their draw to bring people in. People want to meet them. They want to watch them. They're still so skilled, no matter what. Last year we had Red Berenson, who was 84 years old, and he scored a goal right in front of me as I was a defensive pairing. But I grew up in the hockey community in southeastern Michigan. I've been playing my whole life, and that's how this thing started, because I heard an interview with Dennis Hextall, and he talked about the organization, and this was in 2000. I contacted them, and he explained how it worked, and we've been doing it ever since. I've got a whole group of people that I've played hockey with over the years, and I start with them reaching out saying, hey, when you want to play against the Red Wing alumni, and, everybody jumps at the chance. You feel like a little kid when you're out there against them. And they kind of treat you that way sometimes too, but it's no doubt that the fans want to come out and see them. They are so gracious with their time in terms of talking to everybody, giving autographs to the kids, just spending as much time as they possibly can to help us raise funds. And each of our players that plays in this game against the alumni, they get posted on our website, and then they raise money anywhere from $500 to $2,000, these players. And then we also have a sled hockey component, which are able-bodied athletes who get in sleds and try and play against the Metro Detroit sled hockey program out of Taylor. And those players raise a tremendous amount of money. So before we walk in the door on the 14th, I'm going to guess that our players will have raised somewhere in the range of $20,000 to $25,000 already.
And we have such a generous community here in Greater West Bloomfield. That includes certainly in Orchard Lake and the St. Mary's community that supports a number of different organizations with their athletics program. How did that connection build between your organization and Orchard Lake St. Mary's to house this event?
My son is a graduate from the year 2000. So when we used to host the event in Hazel Park, and they were wonderful partners, and then they had some construction that had to be done. And when we got displaced, we went to St. Mary's, and we've been there ever since. They roll out the red carpet, no pun intended there. They are red, the red. But they really help us out. Paul Dobrzinski, Brian Clano, Robert Mazur from the St. Mary's group. They're just, they do whatever they can. We get student volunteers to help us as well. But it's a great arena, and it's a great arena for if you have someone in a wheelchair or somebody who is disabled, difficult to walk. It's all on one level, so it's easy viewing and easy to access.
More information on this can be found mi-ucp.org/hockey. Join them out at Orchard Lake St. Mary's in their arena Saturday, March 14th. Doors open at 3:30. The first game, the sled hockey game at 4 o'clock, the Detroit Red Wings alumni game at 6, but there's tons of fun and activities and, of course, opportunity to meet some of your hockey fan favorites in Orchard Lake on that day. And, of course, the most important part, raising awareness and raising funds to support people with cerebral palsy right here in Michigan with the Michigan UCP organization as well. Mike, if people want to come out to this event, they want to participate, what do they need to know beforehand? Is there a price associated, a donation expected when you come in?
Yep. It's a free event. There's no admission. And we do that for a lot of reasons, but we don't charge an admission. You can come, family friendly. We do have a 50-50 drawing for a cash prize. And then we have, between the two periods of the alumni game, we do a chuck-a-puck where people can buy a puck for $5 and they get a chance to toss it on the ice, and closest to the center wins 4 Red Wing tickets, or the second prize are Tiger tickets. We have a gift certificate to Sylvan Table, the Our Magazine's Restaurant of the Year. We also will be giving away Shake Shack gift cards, Mitten State t-shirt gift cards, and during the entire event, Shake Shack is going to be there giving out free frozen custard. They did it last year. It was a big hit. So they're back again. They've been a great partner. And we have great partners in donor advertising, Waymo Autonomous Vehicles, the Bernstein Law Firm, and Benson's.
Mike Ward is with us from the Michigan United Cerebral Palsy Organization, their annual charity hockey event happening Saturday, March 14th at the arena in Orchard Lake St. Mary's, right here close to home in West Bloomfield. Free to attend. Doors open at 3:30. More information, mi-ucp.org/hockey. Mike, ultimately, it is about those people that the organization supports. That's what we're raising awareness for. That's who we're hoping to support. When all this comes together over these 26 years now, the $700,000+ raised, when it ultimately gets to them and they have that support from their community, what does it mean to those individuals and certainly those families affected by cerebral palsy, the impact of what something like this does for them?
The impact is at different levels. So a family who might need a portable wheelchair just to get, their child from place to place easily, that where they don't have to worry about accessibility, to an assistive technology grant for somebody who needs either a part for their wheelchair or a laptop or an iPad or whatever, or they need a loan to stay in their living quarters, or for somebody who has an adult child that is going out into the world that needs job training or employment assistance or education assistance. These are all things that our agency can help foster, can help advocate for, or can help connect to. There are about 65% of the families and individuals that we help have a disability other than or in addition to cerebral palsy. So even though our name is Michigan United Cerebral Palsy, we do not we take on anyone with any disability. We will assist no matter what.
That's what it's all about, helping people that are in need in Michigan and beyond affected by cerebral palsy, building that community, and it includes you at home watching us today on The Splash Live. Mike, thank you so much for your time today, and best of luck with this year's event.
Thanks a lot for having me.
You can learn more about the event, ways you can get involved, and of course how you can donate. Visit mi-ucp.org/hockey for all of that information. Again, mi-ucp.org/hockey is the place to go. Close to home, a business owner's dream come true, representing her culture in the place that she calls home. Civic Center TV's Jonathan Montgomery has the story.
They say the best kept secrets are hidden in plain sight. And in the greater West Bloomfield area, one resident is doing more than living in the neighborhood, but she's redesigning the social DNA. India Irving doesn't just have a restaurant, but she has a direct line to Black culture in West Bloomfield. And she cultivates that through her business, Knock Twice Speakeasy, located at 6430 Farmington Road. I had the chance to speak with her about the importance of being in this neighborhood.
It's very important to me, just on the strength of everything I do is in this community. I live here, my kids go to school here, so all of my day-to-day activities are in this neighborhood, where I shop, where where I hang out, where I go to the gym. And that was the one thing that was missing for me and my husband. It was like we were getting in our car and driving past all of the things, that we're accustomed to, and having to drive 30 minutes away. And it was just, we wanted good food, good drinks, and a good experience, live bands in our neighborhood.
By bringing live jazz, poetry, and curated Black aesthetics, India is revealing a culture that was already here, but had no place to gather.
Atmosphere is so good, and the people that come here are always looking for some place new to go to. So when you come here and you have such a good time that you're looking really forward to go to someplace else, because sometimes you want to go and either bar hop or you just want to go to a different atmosphere. But every time we come to Knock Twice, we're having a great time.
If community is defined by its shared experiences, then Knock Twice Speakeasy isn't just serving customers, but they're serving family. And it's not hard to find if you know where to knock. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jonathan Montgomery.
Appreciate the story, Jonathan. Great to hear from India Irving, who's got a really incredible story of building businesses all throughout the nearby area, and then wanted to open a restaurant specifically for a representation of her culture right here in the place that she calls home in Greater West Bloomfield. If you want to learn more about Knock Twice Speakeasy, their website, knocktwicespeakeasy.com. Very easy. Knocktwicespeakeasy.com is the place to go. It's no secret, Greater West Bloomfield is a bedroom community that is a vibrant place for our eldest family members to age gracefully and enjoy a very high quality of life in the process. Of course, health and wellness is paramount to maintaining that quality of life, and like everything else, it's all about balance. Karen Faith LLC in West Bloomfield Township will host Dr. Dawn Thomas from Dawn Thomas Physical Therapy on Thursday, March 12th from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. for a workshop known very creatively as Not Falling For It. Dr. Thomas joins me now on The Splash Live for a preview. Dr. Thomas, thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Happy to have you on to talk about this. Balance is such a key portion of quality of life, especially as individuals in communities like Greater West Bloomfield age, because those falls can have significant damage to your health, to your wellness, and to your quality of life. So as we begin this conversation, just how important is maintaining your physical balance to your long-term health and longevity?
Well, as I have been working as a physical therapist for many, many years, more than 30 years, and I've seen firsthand how devastating falls can be for people. And it was my pleasure to start to try to create educational pieces to share with the community, because I can see how very simple things in education and proactive prevention can help people avoid those catastrophic injuries that are so difficult for people to recover from.
And especially as people age, their recovery time is significantly lower. Their ability to recover from even small injuries that may be related to a fall, a bruise on your knee, or you ding your elbow when you fall on the ground and catch your fall, that could have a significant impact. That could be a couple of weeks or a couple of months, as opposed to maybe a few hours or a few days for someone like me in his 30s or somebody younger in their teens or 20s. But when it comes to balance, there's often this misconception that it's all about leg strength or your lower body and your core, but there's so much more that goes into it. Just how much of a whole body effort is maintaining and improving balance as we age?
Yeah, part of what we talk to people about is how all of our systems contribute to our ability to move through space and to control our bodies. Our proprioceptive system, our vision, our hearing, our vestibular system, our joints and muscles all over our body, not just our legs. All of those things contribute to our ability to hold ourselves against gravity and move from A to B and recover when we stumble. And that's the key, to be able to recover when you do lose your balance. And those recovery techniques are things that you can learn. And so all of those things go into being able to maintain your balance, and not just the muscles in your legs.
And it's interesting, too, because something that you do plan to speak about at this event, at this discussion, is that fear of falling that does have a natural occurrence for people as they age, especially empty nesters, especially those that may not have their significant other with them anymore as they get later on into life. How does the fear of falling factor into some of the common issues we see related to this issue?
Is a very important concept to be aware of and to understand, and it starts when we're much younger than you might think, because when we're young, we think of elderly people having trouble with falls, but we start to sort of constrict our movement a little bit when we're much younger than you would think, when we have little injuries or we develop arthritis issues in our feet or our knees or our hips or something, and our movements start to get a little bit smaller. And then a minor thing might happen where you stumble and you have a minor fall that doesn't create a big problem, but it still sends messages to your brain that you need to protect yourself. And so then you make your movements smaller and you're more cautious, and you avoid maybe doing things that you used to enjoy, and your movement palette becomes smaller, and then it sort of snowballs from there. So it's very important to be aware of how your perception of fear of falling can affect this downward trend. And there's ways that you can address that and be proactive in combating that, for sure.
Not Falling Forward is going to happen Thursday, March 12th. The discussion 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Karen Faith LLC on Middle Belt Road in West Bloomfield Township. It is free to attend, but you do have to register in order to attend this discussion. You can register by calling 248-464-5011. Again, that phone number 248-464-5011, or visit Dr. Thomas's Facebook page at Dawn Thomas PT for more information on this and other discussions. Dr. Thomas, as you have these discussions in our community and in other areas on this and other topics, how do you find that these seminars, these open discussions, help individuals take action and ultimately protect themselves from some of the risk factors associated with something like balance as they get later in life?
I feel strongly that it helps people empower themselves into kind of being more proactive in their health and understanding that they have the power to make some changes without kind of waiting for the disaster to happen, waiting for the doctor's appointment, waiting for the therapy appointment, waiting for something to happen to trigger it. So by educating, it's empowering for people to understand the things that they can do today, right now, regularly, and make a big impact in their future.
And look, it's no secret. We live in a results-oriented world, especially in 2026. People don't necessarily care so much about the details that get you there. They care about what happens on the other side of this. I take this action now. How's it going to help me later on? That proactive approach to somebody's health care from your side of things, someone that treats patients that are related to these issues and helps people try to recover as best as they can at certain stages of life. How does that proactivity, getting this information, learning some of these strategies, finding those resources, end up resulting in a better quality of life as people age, or if they do end up in a situation where they unfortunately take a tumble?
Well, I think the biggest thing you said it was just keeping your world bigger, being able to enjoy the things that you enjoy. When disasters happen and injuries happen and people can't recover, your world shrinks very quickly, and it's very difficult to sort of keep the joyful meaning in your life and the joyful connections in your life and the activities that you love to do. And we work with people all the time, and that's really, in the end, that's what it means. It means being able to actively participate in the things that mean something to you, and it's different for every person. And so just keeping your world as big as you can keep it.
Now, we hope people will attend this on Thursday, March 12th. It's a free event. You can attend as long as you register. You can find more information on Dr. Thomas's Facebook page at Dawn Thomas PT, or we'll put throughout the rest of this conversation on the screen the flyer that has a phone number, 248-464-5011, to call and register. But if people can't attend, we want to give them a little bit of nugget of information, something to hook them in, Dr. Thomas. So what are some steps that people can take right now to help them address the potential for falling, or better yet, prevent falling as an issue, especially as they get later into their life?
Yeah, there's tons of things that people can do that are not too complicated. Things like taking inventory of yourself and being more aware of maybe you do have a balance issue, and being aware of, do I grab for furniture? Do I hold people's arms? Do I move slower? Action steps you could take, things like removing tripping hazards in your home, getting your eyeglasses checked to make sure that your vision isn't an issue when you're looking down where your foot placement is. That's a huge one. And getting up and moving every hour, making sure that movement is a part of your normal habits throughout the day. Those are some simple things that you can do to reduce your fall risk today.
And all those steps, they do have results that can pay dividends later on in life, especially the greater your strength is now, the greater it can be later on. You build those good habits, they do last a lifetime and have a life-changing impact. Dr. Thomas, thank you as always for providing this information to the community, and of course for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Glad to have you on
the workshop.
Yeah, definitely. We want to make sure people get out there and get this information, and if they aren't able to, that they have the information right here with us. Once again, that will be happening, Not Falling For It, going to be taking place in West Bloomfield Township on Middle Belt Road at Karen Faith LLC, Thursday, March 12th, 3 p.m. until 4:30. If you do want to attend, a couple different ways you can register for this free event. One more time, the phone number, 248-464-5011, 248-464-5011, or visit facebook.com/Dawn Thomas PT. Even in a community like Greater West Bloomfield, hunger is an issue that affects our friends, neighbors, colleagues, and more. Close to home, volunteers at Temple Israel are taking action to help. Civic Center TV reporter Jonathan Montgomery has more.
Say it takes a village, and in the Greater West Bloomfield area, that village is hard at work. Today, I had the opportunity to spend time with Temple Israel and get a closer look at their fresh food pantry and how these simple volunteers turn a parking lot into a hub of hope for this community. Temple Israel has long been a pillar of the West Bloomfield community, and this pantry is perhaps one of its most visible acts of service. But every great initiative begins with a single moment of realization. Earlier, I spoke with Rabbi Josh Bennett about the history of this outreach. I started by asking him to take us back to the beginning. Where did the inspiration for this fresh pantry first come from?
So about 10 years ago or so, we saw that there was a need in our community. Many food pantries were in other parts of the community, at churches, at synagogues, and in communal locations, but there was nothing here in the northwest suburbs. And we knew that there was a need. So we reached out to Forgotten Harvest and started a food pantry that we called the Free Fresh Food Pantry to serve people who live here in the West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor, Farmington Hills, Commerce area. And we started off with just 12 clients that first week, and now we're up to feeding about 250 people, 250 families every other week.
If you look closely, you'll notice that the volunteers here aren't just loading trucks for others. They're taking a bag home too. This level playing field is a deliberate choice made by Temple to erase the stigma of food insecurity. Rabbi Josh Bennett explained why this inclusive philosophy is so vital for the greater West Bloomfield community.
So one of the reasons we chose to be open to the community is that hunger is something that affects everybody in our community. There are food insecure people right around the corner from this institution, and we know that our members may be some of those people. So one of the ways that we avoided the stigma of being food insecure was inviting anybody to volunteer, and all of our volunteers are able to take food if they want or need. And what that does is it keeps people protected from being seen as different or in need, so that when our volunteers come and everybody takes a little bit for their family or for their neighbor or for a friend, the person who really is in need doesn't feel ostracized. They feel part of the community.
The Fresh Food Pantry is more than just food, but it's about connection. It's about giving back to the citizens of this community that need it the most. And as we can see here today, the spirit of giving is alive and well in Greater West Bloomfield. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jonathan Montgomery.
To learn more about how you can get involved in the Temple Israel drive-through fresh food pantry, visit temple-israel.org or follow them on Facebook as well. Dates for the March drive-through events are going to be Thursday, March 12th and Thursday, March 26th. Of those dates, 2:45 to 4:45 for the drive-through food pantry at their sanctuary portico entrance off of Walnut Lake Road in West Bloomfield Township, just before Drake. Artists unite in the heart of the lakes, where Art Sale is taking over Winter Set Galleries on Orchard Lake Road for a lesson on watercolor painting with Robin LaFrance. She joined Jake Schaff right here on the Splash Live this week to explore the experience and to talk about a special anniversary for this grassroots community.
Robin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I always love this time of year when the snow's melting, everything's outside is blooming and getting beautiful, and you really see the artistry come out all throughout the community. And you've become a recognizable creative presence in the local arts community. How would you describe your artistic impact on the area?
Well, it's a big part of the Art Sale group. We're coming up on our 10th year now, and we have just under 1,000 people in our Facebook group, and that's how the group started, was on Facebook. So over the years, the last 10 years since I moved here into Keego Harbor, I jumped into Art Sale right at its conception, and I've experienced so many opportunities through the group and camaraderie, and it's just been a special 10 years for me getting back into art. And I went to school for art and music, so life happens. You don't get to do it all the time because you have other commitments, but it's really been fun reconnecting.
Yeah, and Art Sale truly has made such an impact on the community. Like you said, 10 years, almost 1,000 people involved with this group. I mean, that truly shows the impact it's had. In what ways have you seen art bring people together in this community?
Well, over the past several years, we've had our appearances at the Keego Harbor Block Party, which has brought our local all of our neighbors and friends to come together and visit our local artists there. Over the years, we've had all kinds of art shows and pop-up events. Our first one makes me kind of laugh because Gino was gracious enough to let us get into the Gino pre-cruise in 2016. That was our first pop-up. So I have looked at a few pictures of that, and it brings back good memories. But that's kind of how we started with the group, with the camaraderie, and then we moved on to events at City Hall. Excuse me, and we had quite a large show at Gino's Santia Hall one year. And then we moved to the Oakland County Farmers Market, which we hosted quite a few shows there. I want to say maybe 6 years. So over the years, the group has grown tremendously.
It sounds like it, and very, very soon you're going to be teaching some aspiring artists with a series of watercolor classes you're going to be having with Winter Set Galleries. We have the schedule for those classes up on our screen if you're watching on Civic Center TV. What can participants expect from these watercolor sessions?
Well, first of all, you're gonna what you can expect is to build confidence if you want to get into art, because I teach technique and we have fun doing this. I guide everybody through their composition through the whole class, but I also teach techniques and little tips and tricks that will build confidence. And usually most of my students, whether they have experience or not, do very well in the classes. So it's also another way to get out and socialize, because we're all feeling that cabin fever, if you will. You got to get out of the house. So Keego, I mean, we don't have a lot in classes, so Winter Set is the perfect place to teach, especially watercolor and acrylics, because it is a gallery. So you're going to get that atmosphere, and it's the owners are lovely, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be socializing while you're learning.
That's right, socializing while you're learning, and I totally agree with you on the cabin fever comment. I mean, everyone's been looking for some reason to get out of the house and to be exploring a different side of themselves, and this class is going to be a great way for everybody to do so. Now, you said that you're excited to be showcasing certain techniques and skills to this batch of students. Can you go into what techniques or skills you're most excited to be teaching in this series?
Well, composition is one, because a lot of people don't even know where to start. So I design my classes so that they're simple enough that we can complete some kind of a composition in an hour and a half class. And most people that take my classes are very surprised, because if they can't complete it, they're so close that they can take it home and finish it. But most of the time we do the whole thing in class. So there are different, watercolor is basically opposite of acrylics. So a big one is learning how to relax and stay loose and learn the process and throw the details out the window. That's one of the first things I say in my classes. We're not learning details tonight. We're learning process and techniques. So that makes it a little bit easier for people to relax and just follow along and learn a couple of tips and tricks.
Yeah, not a lot of pressure, easing everybody into this and making sure that they create incredible artwork. And going back to art sale for just a minute, because it's going to be that time of year for everybody, for all the art sale vendors to be coming out and to be showcasing their work. What can attendees look forward to this year for the 10th anniversary of art sale?
We're actually, it was brought up to me that we need to have a 10-year celebration. So we're just starting to kick that around. We might have a little mixer. We don't know how we're going to do it yet or what we're going to do, but it'll be 10 years this coming June that the group started. And it started so organically. Susan Emmerling just threw it out there on Keego, and I had just moved here. So we got into the power of social media is incredible. But we just got moved to Keego, and I saw it on the Facebook group, and I made a comment, and the rest is kind of history. I just jumped in right away, and the two of us, we had this concept, but my biggest concept at the time was I wanted the camaraderie. I wanted to be in a group of like-minded people, because I'm an artist and a musician, and I've always, it's hard to find a group of people that you can just hang out with, and they think like-minded, and they're not so absorbed in work that they can't relax and talk art or music. So part of it is the camera. Big part for me was, but you know, we grew and we wanted events and we wanted it to be run for artists by artists and keep the event prices low so that everybody could afford it. And also with me and the teaching, I love to inspire people. So if you're just thinking about a new hobby you want to get into, this is a great place to start because watercolors are pretty affordable. And then on top of it, it's great therapy. I mean, when you're painting and you get in the zone and you learn these little tips and tricks that you can take home with you, you're not thinking about paying your mortgage or your car payment. You're just absorbed in that time that you get into your composition or your painting.
Lots of great things for people to take away from being a part of Art Sale. Congratulations on the 10-year anniversary, Robin. We thank you so much for joining us today here on The Splash Live.
Thank you.
More information on Art Sale is available on Facebook. Just search Art Sale Keego Harbor. That's Art Sale, like the sail on a boat, Keego Harbor, and you'll find the Facebook group where you can join, collect art from others across the community, join in on some of their efforts, and find some of these events to sell your art or get more involved right here in Greater West Bloomfield. That's our show. I want to remind you that television that's close to home is always available online on civiccentertv.com and all across our social media. I want to thank you for tuning in and joining us on today's adventure, and of course, thank our crew all across Greater West Bloomfield for making the program possible. For our entire team, I'm Tyler Kieft, live, local, social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV.